Welcome back, Freedom Protector, to the Marine Gun Building channel. Hey, listen, today we're talking about Glock armoring tools. Now look, Glock armoring tools is something that you could spend a little bit of money on if you buy Chinese junk, or you could spend way too much money if you buy Glock OEM overpriced tools, okay? So what I'm going to do today is walk you through the different types of tools that you want to put in your armorer's kit to assemble your Glock build with first-time quality results. Good to go? All right, you ready to go pro? I got my tool. Let's rock it, baby.
You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you.
Sir, yes, sir! Alright, so now armoring tools, right? I have a plethora of different armoring tools. Obviously, you don't need all this stuff. I have some duplicates here because I want to show you pluses and minuses of different types of tools in the Glock armoring world. Now, here's the thing about armoring tools. You could buy an armoring kit. They have two of them, the basic armorer kit and the advanced armorer kit. The problem there is that they cost a ton of money, and by a ton, I mean $250 to $300. For the most part, the tools are really no good, okay, except for the Glock standard tool. The aftermarket makes much better quality tools, and so I'm going to go over a lot of that with you today, okay? Before we get started, though, outside of regular tools here, there are two things that are very, very, very important for you to have whenever you're doing any type of Glock armoring. The first is going to be a Glock armorer's backplate. Looks just like this, okay? It's cut in half. It allows us to see engagement. This is an absolute must, okay? It's a must whenever you're doing armoring to make sure you have that armoring backplate. Another thing is to have dummy rounds. As you're assembling a weapon or function testing a weapon, you never want to use live rounds, okay? Ever. I mean, that goes without saying. So having dummy rounds is a plus. And if you're brand new to armoring, one of the greatest tools that they have out there, believe it or not, is a simple armorer's mat from Glock. This is great for somebody who's learning how to gunsmith, building their first Polymer 80 or building their first Glock, because it tells you everything that you're going to work on, okay? It's a really good learning document here, and it's a good thing to work on. So I highly suggest, these are only a few dollars for a brand new person. This is just a great thing to have on your desk when you're gunsmithing, okay? So with those three things out of the way, let's talk about one other thing, and that's going to be having a good bench block and a good punch set is essential. All right, and so this is a real avid kit. They're very, very popular. Have them in the shop for you. You want to go a little bit bigger. This is an Armorer's Glock block by Present Arms. It has become really one of my most favorite armorer blocks of all times, okay? And I have the AR1, same thing. I'm going to put these things aside for now as we begin to talk about actual armoring tools in the Glock family. So the first thing is going to be the Glock punch, right? It's a 3/32 punch. We use it all the time. You see me use it in every single video nonstop, and as you can see, this one is beat to shit because it gets a lot of heavy use. Lots of people in the aftermarket make them. There's another one, here's another one, here's another one. But let me talk about the square ones for a second. So you'll see a lot of Chinese knockoffs out there, but they're no good. You see how this has a channel on one side and then it's flat on the other, right? Channel on one side, flat on the other. And if you look at an OEM Glock tool, it's got the channels on every side. Now, the reason why Glock does this is because as it comes together, it's molded together tight, keeping that punch nice and tight in there, okay? And so it can take a lot of abuse as we're popping pins and doing different things. And, you know, that's obviously patent, right? And so nobody else can copy that. And when you get into the aftermarket, they know this. And so what they do, they don't have the channels on either side. They take two pieces, and I'll take a pointer here to show you. They take two pieces and mold it together right here so it creates a seam. And here's the thing, these things fall apart all the time. All the time. They're no good. And one of the other things is when you're actually shopping for a Glock armoring tool, because this is so widely known in our industry, what they do is on the pictures, they show it to you like this, right? So they're like, oh yeah, it's a Glock armoring tool. It looks like that. And they're not showing you the other sides of it, okay, intentionally. Now, with that said, all right, this is just a standard Glock armoring tool. They are out there in abundance, all right? So you want to make sure that it's got the channel. Now, I don't mean to pick on Ghost Ink here, okay, because this is theirs, okay, but this tool is no good, all right? But their backplate, though, their Armor's backplate I just talked about, fantastic, outstanding, and it's transparent, and I can see through. So not only is it cut, but it's transparent. And so the thing that Ghost does is they know that this has lots of problems, right? And so they package them together. You buy them together. And so this actually comes as a set. You get the punch and their fantastic Armor's backplate. This is like, I don't want to say, it's under $20, but they put them together, and it's like, well, can I buy the Armor plate by itself? And you know, most of the time it's no. I always see it packaged together as a unit, and you don't need this, and I wouldn't suggest you use this because it's gonna break on you. But at the same time, when we think about an Armor's backplate, it's still a value. Even though they throw this in, it's still a value, huge value. A standard backplate costs more than that, okay? And an Armor's backplate, obviously essential. So keep that in mind. They also have the orange Armor's backplates. Those are fine too. I just like that one because it's transparent. Here is one by Squirrel Daddy. They're very, very big in the armoring world of Glock, made in the USA. I love their armoring tool because it's got that grip, right? Like a screwdriver, it's got that grip. And so when I'm like popping a pin, this is really tough to do on the grip, okay, because of the design, but this has got that screwdriver design, and it makes it fantastic to kind of get in there and punch. And if I need to hammer something, I now have a nice big flat surface to hammer instead of like this, okay, which is gonna cause flex. So this has a reinforced on the bottom where it flares out, keeps it nice and tight, right? And I can put a lot of pressure with this, all right? So, you know, this aftermarket tool is great. It's good to go, okay? This actually comes in a set with a front tool, right? So you can kind of buy them together as a set, all right? So a Squirrel Daddy one is good. They sell these other little ones like this. This is a Chinese knockoff. No good. You look at some of these things again. Armoring tools are one of those things that in pictures they make look big and fancy and nice, but as you can see, they're very, very tiny in person, okay? The problem with this is I can't actually get a whole grip, right? I like the screwdriver thing, but I can't get a whole grip. They're hollow inside, where this feels very, very, you know, strong and well made. So again, they sell these things. You'll be online, you'll see this one, and then they'll say, okay, well, for suggested for $2.99, you can have this one. And you're like, oh, okay, well, it's a screwdriver handle. It looks good, but you know, the pictures are blown up, but it's no good. It's Chinese garbage. Okay, so that's no good. So that's armoring tools, okay? An Armor's punch, 3/32. We use it all the time. Let's talk about some sight tools. So sight tools, 3/16 hex wrench on the end of it for our front sight. They come in different forms, okay? From, you know, a Glock OEM one to a standard Chinese to one with a grip, and then we find them all the time in multi-tools as well. Big thing to look for here is a magnetic end, okay, because we're coming in with that screw, trying to get it down in there and then tighten it, right? And so, you know, if we have a little magnetizer, and I show in my slide video how to magnetize things if you don't, but the reality is that you want to be able to have a good magnetic hold on that screw while you're screwing that front post down, okay? So front sight tool, pretty simple, you know, nothing fancy with that. Put that one aside. Channel liner tools. So channel liner tools are essential. We put the channel liner inside the slide down in here. Okay. Most of the time, people are buying install tools, which is cool, but there might be a time where you need to remove it. They come in two forms. Okay, they come in install or install and removal. Okay, and so with an install tool, as we know, the channel liner goes on here and then sinks into the slide. You can have a standard one like this, which is in punch form. We put it on, we put it down on the slide, and we hammer it on. This is just a nice big piece of steel. Okay, very inexpensive again. We have a dual tool here, which is on one side is to install, to push it in, and the other side is to screw in like this and yank it out. All right, so the threads on the bolt here screw in, grab onto the plastic of the channel liner, and then I can pull it out of the slide. So, you know, this is great. It's genius that it's 2-in-1. This is a Brownells tool, a Brownells exclusive. But one of the things that I don't like about this is that when we install a channel liner, you know, 99% of the time we've got to put it in and we've got to hammer on top to get the channel liner to sit inside the slide. And well, what are you hammering here? You're hammering on top of the threads. And so you start to mar this tool. That wasn't really well thought out. But either way, this is what a dual tool looks like. All right, so now let's talk about magazine tools, okay? So magazine tools, you know, listen, probably one of the most useful tool in an armorer's kit, because the reality is that we're lots of times need to disassemble a magazine, okay? So we might need to change the base plate here. We might want to add a mag extension. We might have to change the spring, change the follower, clean inside our mags. I mean, there's just a ton of reasons why we may need to remove the base plate. And so a standard wrench tool, okay, which is our claw, has a post here, and it basically just goes in, right, pushes that spring down, and then the claw end, and I'll put my thumb over because we're going to have the spring could come flying out and pop and go crazy, okay? But it just pops that plate off, and then I can slide it off, and voila. Okay, so we can change our follower, you know, change our spring, clean inside there, put our other base plate on, put a mag extension in, all that good stuff now, nice and easy and in seconds. And let me tell you, this is one of those tools that you just can't overlook in your kit, because if you got to do this without it, you know, you can take a punch in here and you can, you know, wrestle with this, but it's a complete pain in the neck. Trust me. Okay. Trust me on that one. Complete pain in the neck. But, you know, having this tool is fantastic in your inventory. Now, I keep this one in my range bag when I'm out there in the field firing. And actually, when I'm armoring, I use a sled. So it's the same tool for this. The first post here, right here, is to pop the plate. So I come in and I just pop the plate like so, okay? So once the plate's popped, bang, then I put it on the sled like so, and I just pull, okay? And it comes off. And because it's vertical like this, the spring doesn't have a chance to go flying, okay? So now it's off, boom, all set, right? And the great thing about this is it helps you reassemble. So I just put this back in, I put the spring back on the plate, I line it up, and then I just push it forward and I'm back on, right? So a sled is fantastic for armoring when we're doing anything with mags. Again, I can, you know, put my extension down there, I can put a new base plate down there, and in seconds I'm back on, as you just saw, okay? One of the other things about this tool that's fantastic is, so dummy rounds, right? We already talked about that. You know, listen, we're doing some armoring, and I need to load a mag. I need to check some things, right? Because I mean, how many times do I have problems where I'm armoring and I'm trying to fix a problem, a feeding problem, and you know, I've got to load a mag up. Well, we don't want to use live rounds, right? So we're going to use some dummy rounds here. And here's the thing. See this little tool? I'm going to flip it upside down. And here, you see it's got this channel, and then it's got a riser, right? Watch how cool this is. I can put the mag, will slide right in there like this to that riser. Bang, bang. See them coming out? Bang. And so I can unload my mag just like that with this same tool. So, I mean, I love my sled tool, use it all the time. It's just a fantastic genius idea that Real Avid came up with, okay, especially for the bench. You know, it's a little big for me to put in my bag. That's why I like the wrench for that. But certainly when I'm armoring, this is the one that I go to, all right? All right, so put that aside, put this aside, put this aside. A guide rod tool. So, you know, look, let me grab a guide rod here for a second. I had to take this little kit out of my multi-tool. I'll show you that in a second. So with the guide rod, there's a lot of times that you may be in a position where you need to change a spring. One of the things that I see that occurs a lot is folks are playing with different spring setups. And what they end up doing is they go out and buy a whole new rod system, right? So they buy the whole rod and a new spring every time as they're testing different springs, and that can get kind of expensive when all you really need is just a spring, okay? Or you might need to take this apart to clean it. It might get that bad. But the truth of the matter is that this is the first piece that is going to go bad on your Glock. Now, what I mean by bad, I mean it's the first piece that's going to fail you. Okay, think of it like driving your car. Every couple of thousand miles, you need to change your oil. That's the same way I look at a recoil spring assembly, okay? Every couple thousand rounds, you're going to want to be proactive and change this, all right? Because it is the first thing that does go on a Glock. I always carry spares with me, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But the way this one works, so this is a Gen 3, is it has a little plug on top, okay? And so under this great tension here is a little plug on top of the guide rod, keeping the spring in place. It's really difficult to pop that plug when you're trying to put all this pressure down and getting another tool in there. And, you know, it's just one of those things, again, where springs go flying. They always go into the abyss. You never find them, right? And so you need a guide rod tool for that. This is real simple how this works. It just goes in like that. It comes all the way down and bang. See how it keeps the tension down for me now on the spring, okay? And then you can take a tool and you can just pop that top off of the guide rod like so, okay? And then nice and easy, I take it off, and now I have the spring off, okay? And here's my guide rod, all right? So if I had another spring, then I get the spring, I put it on my guide rod, I changed it out, and then I can put this back on. So, you know, this goes back onto the tool like so, come all the way down, right? Exposed, I put the cap back on, and bang, I'm good to go. Pretty cool, right? One of the other things that you can do here too, let me actually get my armor's block again. Maybe we'll call this a little hack for you, okay? I'll show you a little hack. Let me move the camera back a little bit here so you can see what I'm gonna do. So this tool is great, especially for reassembly, okay? But say I needed to get that off, you know, I needed to get that top plug off and I didn't have a guide rod tool, okay? It's near impossible, my friends, with your fingers under tension like that to get that off and a tool. It's just near impossible. So let me grab a frame. Let me grab a slide. Yeah. Okay. One of the things you can do, lock your slide back, and as you see, it is now here and it's captured on the tension because my slide lock is open, and now you can go in with the tool and pop it off, okay? So that's just a little armorer's trick, a little workaround. If you didn't have a guide rod tool, of course, that's not going to help you put it back on. Okay, that's another whole story. All right, but that's a little trick if you need to get it off for any reason. All right, so we'll put that one aside. Last thing about guide rods is that the aftermarket ones that we buy, the all steel ones, they actually use a screw on top, okay? So that makes it even easier. It's a little Allen wrench screw that screws into the top, metal screw. But again, this tool is great for those. Now I can hold it and I can spin the screw out, take it out, do whatever I need to do with it, okay? Put the new spring on, come in, put some Loctite on the screw, blue Loctite, by the way, and then tighten it back down, and I'm good to go, all right? So just some FYI there, I guess. If you go with an aftermarket, change the spring. Don't have to buy the whole thing and all that other nonsense, all right? So let's talk about some multi-tools we have here. So Vism makes a lot of multi-tools. They're constantly introducing new multi-tools. This is a little pen style one that they have. You know, unscrew it, and on one side you got your 3/16 hex for your front sight on one side, and on the other side you have a Glock punch. Now, the reason why they have, you know, out of all these armoring tools, they have the punch and the sight is because, my friends, you fire enough Glocks, you learn that those are the two tools when firing that you find yourself needing when you're out on the range or in the field, okay? You find, again, that front post needs a little bit of tightening down, or you need to pop pins and start to disassemble things, okay? And so, you know, you need your punch tool for that. And so this is a cool little thing that they put together. Again, really, really cheap. It's really best used in your bag and not for heavy armoring or building, all right? So that's that one. Then they have this one here, which is an all-in-one, right? So it's basically everything that I showed you here in one unit. So you have your 3/32 armorer's punch here. It works on a quick release here, and this comes out, okay? And then down in the bucket holder here is everything else, okay? So we got our armorer's tool. You have a channel liner tool. You have a front sight tool. You have a channel liner removal tool, and then it comes with a Phillips head and a flathead screwdriver, okay? And they all sit down in there. And so this has been a really great idea by Vism, because, you know, it's so simple. Just come in, put it in, and I'm in business, and then we have storage, okay? One other thing about this tool too, let me just go to my bag of goodies over here. Let me grab our firing pin assembly here. As you know, getting these little spring cups on is always a pain in the neck, okay? And so the way they did this little cutout is perfect, because what happens is you can put the tool down like this, and then this fits in just like that, right, Freedom Protector? And we can push down and, you know, do our cups and do our install with this tool. So, you know, that was a genius idea to add that little cut in. So I like this tool a lot. It's cool, but it's not, you know, this isn't, you know, a permanent tool, okay? It's kind of, it's okay, but it's not, you know, everything you want. I'll tell you what I use it for and what I love it for, okay? Heavy armoring, I don't like it for that. But putting it in, this is my go-to armoring tool in my bag. All right, and so what I do with this tool is, because it's got the storage on the bottom here, which I do love, all right, is what are we going to need the most when we're out there? Well, we need that front sight tool, and we need our armoring tool. Well, what are the other things I need? Well, I need a extra firing pin assembly. I need an extra, you know, extractor plunger, an extra safety plunger and spring, some RMR screws, and of course, our number one failure, which is a recoil spring assembly, right? And so what I do is I put all this stuff in here, like so. Okay, these are all my little parts. These are the parts that would fail if I was to have a failure. Put them in the little baggie, and we roll it up nice and tight. Okay, roll it up nice and tight, and then this is gonna go ahead and stick down in here, maybe. There we go. All right, I stick it down in there like so, and once it's in, close it up. Now, that's it. I just throw this in the bag and I'm good to go. And Vism, if you watch this video, I have a recommendation for you on this tool. I absolutely like it and I love it. I think it's genius as you continue to put out genius products. I would love to see you put a holder so that I can snap these other tools on the side like so. All right, so that we can open that up for a parts bay. All right, so this is a multi-tool, fantastic. I like it, again, really, really inexpensive, really inexpensive. All right, so let's talk about some sight tools. So a rear sight pusher, extremely important in the world of gunsmithing. These are both universal ones. This one's extreme value. They typically run between 50 and 70 bucks. Basically what happens here is we open up the side here. Let me just put it on an angle so you can see it. We open up the side here, like so. Get your height up. You got a little table on the bottom here that is also adjustable by height, okay? And then we have what we actually push left or right onto the slide. And so what happens is we have to put rear sights on this slide, right? And so we put the slide in, we line it up onto the table, tighten it down left and right so it sits, push the top one down so it keeps us steady on the table, right? Nice and flat and level on that table. And then once the sight's there, we push it left or right, push it on or off, okay? And so this is a really simple design. I talk about it in the slide video a little bit as being one of the most valued tools, right? When we talk about what you get for the money, you know, it's a really good value sight pusher. A little bit higher end here would be a Wheeler system. Wheeler Engineering, so it's all in that name, engineering. They tend to over-engineer stuff, but they are brilliant when it comes to making gunsmithing tools. This is, you know, part of their Pro line. Fantastic, basically. These things spin off, okay? This does everything under the sun as far as sights you could ever imagine with a pistol, all right? So we can see it comes off like that. It's two pieces. Let me spin it around like so. You get the slide, you put the slide, it's got a nice big flat table for you to get that slide on, okay? And then come this way. We put this over, we put this back on like so. All metal, very heavy, very durable. You know, it could be a weapon itself, okay? And so again, it's got the riser on top here to come down, and it's got your left and right, except on the left and right, it grabs it on 2 points, keeping it extra stable. And so while I love the Vism, one of the problems, and I talked about this in the slide video, is you got the big dookie slide hanging out the end, okay? Especially when you start to get to the larger frame weapons, and you're only pinching it at the front weight here, and sometimes when you're moving it, you know, I talk about it, you got to pay attention that it's not bowing or flexing on you, okay? Because this is only going to hold it so tight, and some of those sights that you have to put on these slides are, as you know, not easy breezy, and they take a lot of force, okay? And so what this does is says, yeah, you know, we hear you, we're going to have 2 points of contact for you as you come in, and it sticks out a little further, so the slide needs to really sit on that table, okay? And you know, again, I could keep the barrel and can't do it on this one here, okay? It needs that depth and that stability. So, you know, there's obviously a cost difference between these two sight pushers. You know, you have to take that into consideration, because I don't remember the exact amount, but this is at least $100 more than that one, okay? And so, you know, you want to keep that in mind, all right? But here we have those 2 points of contact. I'm capturing, you know, a good 60%, a little over 50 anyway, almost 60% of the slide, nice and stable, ready to go, ready to push left or right. Okay, so Wheeler Engineering, I mean, this is a fantastic sight tool. If you have the money, get that one. If you don't and you're on a budget, this one is fantastic, okay? So, wow, we covered a lot of tools here today. That's basically all of the arm ring tools that you could ever need. The only thing that I'm going to add that wouldn't be Glock specific, that is very important to have, is a set of digital calibers. These are so important to have. I have a few sets because unfortunately they're like the remote control. I'm always using them, and so I can never remember where I left them last, and so I keep a couple of sets. One of the best things about these digital calipers nowadays, okay, if I won't tell you my age, but if I go back in time, these things were so expensive. If you wanted digital calipers back in the day, you were mortgaging your house, okay? And nowadays, I mean, this is like $17, $18, and it just does the the job well. And so, you know, having a set of digital calipers is great. Does basically every type of reading that you want, whether it be millimeters or inches or fractions or anything else that you need, okay? And, you know, for under 20 bucks, to me, it just saves you, okay? It has a little metric conversion kit on the back as well, for you to know. All right, my friends? So look, this is everything that you could possibly want when Glock armoring. And, you know, here's, I guess, maybe the lesson for Glock armoring. What you will need is a Glock armorer tool. No matter what form or fashion you come in, you will need a Glock armoring tool. That is one tool. You will need a channel liner install tool or a channel liner and uninstall tool. Okay? So you will need a mag disassembly tool. Okay? You will need a front sight installation tool. So where's my front sight installation tool with a 3/16 hex. Bang. This is your setup. Okay? I have my punch, I have my channel liner install, removal, I have a mag disassembly, and I have a front sight tool. Then the last thing that you need in order to armor is a rear sight pusher. Okay, and again, you could go value or more expensive. And once, so again, I want you to understand I have a lot of tools here, but this is really all you need, right? Armoring tools are the least expensive tools out of everything when we talk about building guns. As far as tools are concerned, right? They're not build tools, they're not gunsmithing tools. They're just for assembly and disassembly. These are the, you know, the least expensive setup you need. And with just something like this, this is perfect. Now, the other thing, Freedom Protector, is if you want, get an all-in-one tool until you get your feet wet, you start to understand, you start to armor, and then upgrade to individual hard tools. All right? That's it for today, my friends. Semper Fi, do or die.